What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here for a technical analysis on ETSY for Etsy Inc. as we head into the upcoming week. First thing to point out is that on the left we have the daily time frame, and on the right we have the 30-minute time frame. The green line is our 200 SMA and the blue line is our 50 SMA. On Etsy here, it would be sort of irresponsible of me to not point out that we do have earnings coming out on the 4th of August, and it looks like it is after the market close around 4 p.m. So be aware of that. Be aware of the implied volatility if you're someone who decides to trade this with options. That being said, jumping into our analysis, I would say on the daily, we just need to point out very critical and very obvious areas of resistance. So up here around 207.86 is striking me as a bit of a double top, and right now it appears as though we're threatening the neckline of this pattern and or the low right here around $180.52. Now we do have the critical moving averages sort of there offering a little bit of support towards the low of today's essential breakdown candle. The other thing that I want to point out about this daily time frame is the large overhead gap now, which will act as a target and or magnet, if you will, if we see any sort of move to the upside. So jumping over to the 30-minute now, we'll zoom in a little bit so we can just sort of make better note of these levels. Over 192.56, I would look for this gap to fill up towards this area in here, 198 the whole dollar. Certainly this may be offer, another piece of resistance should we retest the bottom end of the gap, but traditionally the way the gaps work is that we don't really place a whole lot of emphasis in this price action here. We're just looking at this massive overhead gap in the chart, lacking liquidity, lacking a lot of trade history there. So do note that that gap could fill over 192.50 rather quickly. To the downside, or rather before we even get there, let me just point this out from the 30-minute time frame as well. At 185.30, that is a very critical area of resistance as well. Before we can even think about filling the gap to the upside, we need to clear that. You can see it offered rejection once, twice, and then 3 and 4 times into the end of the day here on Friday. So very critical area there at 185.30. If we can get above it, certainly again look to the bottom of the gap at 192.50. To the downside, now again, this is where things get interesting. We have the 50 SMA from the daily right underneath us. So if that breaks, I would look for a quick flush underneath to 180.52, as we noted the neckline of the double top pattern here, and anything underneath prior resistance here should offer some support, and to put a value to that, that's around 172.59. Now I know that's not traditionally how the double top works. Traditionally what you do is you look for this to exactly replicate, or that range essentially to replicate itself to the downside, but because Etsy is in sort of this short-term uptrend, if you will, I wouldn't be overly aggressive to the downside. If it does happen to break 172.60, your next major area of support to watch out for would be 163, we'll call it, rounding up there for the next whole dollar. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new about technical analysis, feel free to let us know down below in the comments section or by simply leaving the video a thumbs up.